from the NBI on Monday, that chase on the stairwell, up the stairwell, right? Leaving the Senate at 2:30 in the morning with Senator Robin Padilla. He could have left in broad daylight. You don't see these actions as one of a fugitive attorney? Tumatakbo sa batas, nagtatago sa batas. He was in
No.
hiding for 6 months.
Mm.
Isn't that the actions of a fugitive?
I have a very respectful question, Ma'am Karen. Tumatakbo po sa ano pong batas? Ano pong batas ang tinatakbuhan ni Senator Bato?
Tinatakbuhan ang NBI attorney.
Okay.
Kung wala siyang kasalanan at hindi siya fugitive, that act, right? Fight
Yes.
or flight, wasn't that the act of a fugitive?
No, that is the act of self-preservation, Karen, because we all know that the president has shown that FPRRD, until now, his unlawful arrest is under question, and yet he is languishing somewhere in a foreign country beyond the reach of our laws.
So what is your reaction to the fact that the Office of the Solicitor General on Friday has already asked the Supreme Court to deny the plea of Senator De La Rosa when it comes to the arrest warrant issued against him? First of all, the OSG has said that De La Rosa is not entitled to an injunctive writ to enjoin his arrest and surrender to the ICC. Attorney.
Ma'am Karen, first of all, I would like to apologize in advance for the limited scope of my answers due to the fact that we're the counsel and that we are right now preparing our answer to their comment. However, it is our, just generally, it is our considered view that the shooting in the Senate and among other circumstances are supervening events that are more than enough to first of all show the intent of the state to arrest Senator Bato without a lawful warrant. And the discussion of the lawfulness of the ICC warrant is a long and very complicated one. But we believe that in the end, of course, we believe that it will not be an enforceable warrant based on our existing jurisprudence.
Okay, so Attorney, I'll mention some points that the Office of the Solicitor General wrote to the Supreme Court, and at least you can give me your initial reaction. So under the OSG statement, it says that there is no clear and unmistakable right that requires immediate protection, meaning of Senator De La Rosa. Your reaction on that?
Just to clarify, what the OSG is doing is they're doing their job. They are answering one by one the elements of injunctive relief. No, first is the clear and unmistakable right. Second is the invasion of that right, and the third is the prevention of irreparable damage. Alam na alam po ng mga abogado yan. However, even the commentaries that I watched last night were saying that these seem to be very broad strokes issued by the OSG. They're just saying that there's no clear and unmistakable right. But what we are saying is that, yes, there is a clear and unmistakable right being violated here, being invaded upon, because his liberty is at stake. Once the authorities arrest him, there is precedent, as shown by the arrest of former President Rodrigo Duterte. So this is definitely irreparable damage should that arrest occur based on what we feel is an unrecognized warrant in our jurisdiction.
Now, the OSG also stated that Senator De La Rosa failed to establish the urgent necessity of an injunctive writ to prevent any serious damage.
I don't see what, again, I applaud them for just doing their job, but there is nothing more serious than the damage that the whole nation knows can be inflicted upon our client. This is the most serious. In fact, it damages not only his liberty, but the sovereignty of the Philippines. Karen, I would like to discuss at some point down the road,
of course,
how the deliberations, the Senate deliberations went, during the RA 9851 passage, and it will clearly show that there was no enforcement mechanism instituted within that law, and therefore Okay, go ahead.
No, you're right. I was going to ask you that. So we'll discuss that in a bit. The last point of the OSG is this one. The CIDG subpoena, which had been subsequently recalled,
Yes.
she claims was valid under Republic Act number 10973. And I think the big issue is parliamentary immunity. The OSG said was never meant to be a shield against public accountability. So you're right. They're doing their job, but in effect, they're labeling Bato de la Rosa as a fugitive from justice at this point. So to close the OSG statement, fugitive from justice. Do you agree with that?
Of course, we do not agree that he is a fugitive. The problem here, Karen, and I think most observers have seen this, is the vacillating arguments and the way they conveniently invoke rules when it suits them. And again, I do not blame them. But we have to choose, no? As the government has to choose. Are they invoking their own statute, or are they invoking domestic law? Because it's very hard for us to hit a moving target, Karen, no? If they are invoking the domestic law, then our argument goes one way, that there is no surrender mechanism in that law as shown by the deliberations. If they are invoking their home statute, then we will argue that, first of all, jurisdiction issue, and then number two, that they did not go through the rigors of Article 59, which is submitting to competent judicial authority.
Okay, I want to start first with De La Rosa not acting as a fugitive. When you see the videos, De La Rosa's actions himself, running from the NBI on Monday, that chase on the stairwell, up the stairwell, right? Leaving the Senate at 2:30 in the morning with Senator Robin Padilla. He could have left in broad daylight. You don't see these actions as one of a fugitive attorney? Tumatakbo sa batas, nagtatago sa batas. He was in hiding for 6 months. Isn't that the actions of a fugitive?
I have a very respectful question, Ma'am Karen. Tumatakbo po sa ano pong batas? Ano pong batas ang tinatakbuhan ni Senator?
Tinatakbuhan ang NBI attorney.
Okay.
Kung wala siyang kasalanan at hindi siya fugitive, that act, right? Fight
Yes.
or flight, wasn't that the act of a fugitive?
No, that is the act of self-preservation, Karen, because we all know that the precedent has shown that FPRRD, until now, his unlawful arrest is under question, and yet he is languishing somewhere in a foreign country beyond the reach of our laws. And then, Senator, you have to remember that the circumstances surrounding that day there were very public pronouncements from the government that the NBI were not deployed there, that they will not arrest. And yet there were people there announcing themselves to be NBI. So all these circumstances taken together, it can give doubt within the mind of our client na totoo bang NBI ito? Are these rogue NBI agents? Are these other perpetrators from some foreign jurisdiction? And that taken together, sino po naman ang hindi po tatakbo sa isang uncertain group of individuals?
But why leave at 2:30 in the morning?
Why not? I left at 2 a.m.
So you were with him that day?
No, I was. Prior to that, I left around 1:30 or 2 a.m., decided to go home, and maybe our client just decided to go home as well. Now, I know that sounds like a coy answer, but even within the legal premise that we are setting, he had every right to go in and to go out of the Senate because there was no lawful arrest warrant.
I want to ask you, where is he now? I want to start with that. Where is he?
I beg you and the viewers to believe me fully, if you are capable, that we did not know that he was coming to the Senate, and we did not know that he was leaving. He is a military strategist, Ma'am Karen, and we all know that they know how to operate these things without involving and risking the safety of their loved ones. And I think I am among his loved ones.
So until today, you have no idea where Bato is, if he's in Davao, did he fly to Davao? But are you sure he did not leave the country?
I am at a loss as to how to answer that, but I do assure you of my lack of knowledge as to his whereabouts, Ma'am Karen. This is very sincere, this is very candid. No one knows except Bato himself and perhaps his family.
No one knows. So from the time he left the Senate, have you been in touch with him? Has he been in touch?
No,
Not at all.
not at all.
Okay, so he's left his legal team to essentially handle all petitions before the Supreme Court. Yun ba yun, attorney?
Yes, and you have to remember that during those times, even before the Senate attack, we had spent hours, countless hours and sleepless nights with him, researching and building our case against this unlawful arrest, Ma'am Karen. We've even gone into international law and the regulations of the Hague Court to show that the arrest warrant was not, if at all existent at that time, because we did not know if it was being served properly. And in a few days, Ma'am Karen, it will be very clear that they did not serve the warrant in accordance with any law, not even the regulations of the Hague Court.
Okay, let's talk about your comparison to the Rome Statute and Philippine laws.
Yes,
The
ma'am.
Philippines was a signatory to the Rome Statute. In
Yes.
effect, the ICC has been described not as a foreign court by Attorney Gilbert Andres, but as a permanent court that handles specifically crimes against humanity. In other
Yes.
words, Philippine courts do not handle crimes against humanity. It
No.
is okay. Go ahead.
That is, with due respect to everyone involved, that is completely wrong. If you read the Senate deliberations on the passage of RA 9851, it specifically creates this law to codify the substantive aspect of the Rome Statute. The substantive but not the procedural. Meaning po sa Tagalog po, ginawa na po nilang krimen sa RA 9851 ang crimes against humanity, war crimes, crimes of aggression, and acts of aggression. Ngayon, yan pong mga krimen na yan are now punishable under existing laws in the revised penal code, existing provisions. So malinaw pong sinabi halimbawa nila Senator Gordon nung sila po ay nag-interpellation na kinukuha lang po natin, tatagalogin ko po para makuha po ng lahat. Kinukuha po natin ang definisyon ng lahat ng mga krimen ito, nilalagay po natin sa domestic law at ito po ay ipapunish natin according to our domestic law. It was very clear in the deliberations. Therefore, hindi po totoo na doon lang sa international court pwedeng litisin ang halimbawa crimes against humanity. The converse is true. That though we adopted the definition of crimes against humanity, dito po ang jurisdiction kung saan siya lilitisin.
Oo. Pero meron ring ambiguity kasi sa surrender and extradition, right? Doon sa
Wala na po.
RA 9851. In Section 17 of that particular Republic Act, the law allows authorities to dispense, tell me if you agree with this, with
Yes.
local investigations if an international tribunal is already handling the case. Because you have
Yes.
Senate President Franklin Drilon, for example, saying he can be arrested without a local court. You have Attorney Gilbert Andres saying the ICC warrant is already legitimate, right? It's enforceable under
No.
RA 9851.
I invite the good senator and the other individuals you have mentioned, Ma'am Karen. I invite them. Okay, as lawyers, alam po natin na may tatlo pong rules sa pagbabasa ng batas. Una po yung plain meaning, no? Pero pag hindi po yan makita, pupunta po tayo sa ratio legis, which is yung deliberations, ano po yung intent of the law. And then the third one is yung ut magis valeat quam periac. Tsaka na po yun. Nandito na tayo sa second step because you are saying that there is an ambiguity po. May kalabuan po dun sa una. So hindi po plain yung meaning. So we go to the deliberations. At pagdating po sa deliberation, nilinaw po nila Senator Gordon na wala pong enforcement mechanism pang nagagawa. That is why he was saying, we have to remember, Karen, RA 9851 was passed a year before we ratified the Rome Statute. So nung nag-uusap sila, sinasabi nila, i-define na natin yung crimes. Pero intayin po natin na maisali tayo sa Rome Statute para magkaipin itong batas. Yun po yung sinabi dun sa mga usapan. No, so ibig sabihin, ang intention po ng mga mambabatas is i-codify muna natin, i-describe muna natin yung mga crimes, gawin natin krimen dito. Pero para po yan malitis sa ibang bansa, pumirma tayo doon sa treaty. Mag-ratify tayo rather doon sa treaty.
Okay, but go on. Oh, so we did. Okay.
We ratified and then we went out of it.
No, but then that's also debatable because President Duterte did that unilaterally without the Senate.
Okay, this
That's
is what
also
I was...
debatable for the senators. Kumbaga, ang
Yes,
daming
yes.
debatable nga dito sa mga senador, di ba? Sabi ni
Hindi po,
Senator
settled.
Rita Ontiveros is,
Oo.
we got out of the ICC unilaterally. President Duterte did it without the Senate's approval.
Well, we all know, nasa Pangilinan versus Cayetano na po yan, but even a plain reading of the Constitution says that there's a two-thirds concurrence of the Senate para pumasok. Yung paglabas po, wala. Ibig sabihin, ang chief architect...
It's silent. It's
Yes,
silent.
it is silent. So we cannot distinguish what the law does not distinguish. Pero po, pampasarap lang po ng usapan, Ma'am Karen. Kung sakali pong tayo po ay nasa Rome Statute pa rin, which is against our argument, yun nga po ang sinasabi natin. Kung nandun tayo, i-invoke natin yung surrender, extradition, and other mechanisms nung Rome Statute. Article 59 tayo, plus what is often overlooked are the regulations of the court. Meron po silang set of rules. Para po sa batas natin, di ba may batas, tapos may IRR, implementing rules. Meron din po silang regulations of the court. The key phrase here, Ma'am Karen, is yung arrest warrant kailangan ng personal service. Nakalagay po yan sa Regulation 31.
Okay, that's one. Number two is the validation of a local court. So I want to ask you about this. Because Senate President Alan Peter Cayetano in his press conference said that all they are waiting for is for a local court to validate the ICC warrant, and then they will recognize the arrest warrant if a local court validates it. Ang tanong ko sa inyo, nung panahon po ba ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte, nagkaroon kasi ng ICC warrant and then nagkaroon ng red notice sa Interpol, tama?
Yes.
Dumaan ba yun sa isang regional trial court din? Did a local court, did the government bring that to a local court to validate it before Duterte was sent to The Hague?
You have to remember, Ma'am Karen, that this petition that is filed is not just Bato versus the government. This is Duterte, Bato versus the government. So ibig sabihin po, yun na nga, you are arguing in our favor, Ma'am Karen. That ang sinasabi
I'm not arguing. I'm asking questions.
Sorry.
For clarity purposes. Yeah.
You are positing an argument in favor of our argument because ang sinasabi nga namin is mula pa sa panahon ni Pangulong Duterte and his extraordinary rendition, which is a fancy term for international kidnapping, no, mali na po yung proseso na nasunod. Kaya nga po what we're fighting for here is na hindi po maulit yung alam na nating capacity na gawin ng administrasyon. And we are not doing this as politicians, Ma'am Karen. I hope your viewers believe that much, no? Because we are trying to protect our sovereign nature, no, yung Pilipinas, na hindi po natin pwedeng i-short circuit yung mga korte dahil kaya nga po tayo may Korte Suprema to ensure that these processes are not completely political only. Kasi po ang magiging mangyayari niyan sa hinaharap kapag meron lang kalaban yung gobyerno, issue short circuit nila yung korte at dadali na lang kahit sino pong kalaban sa international court, which will be worse than martial law.
So at this point, if the government is taking action to bring this to a local court, I mean, right now you have the Solicitor General already arguing, right? For the at the Supreme Court.
Yes.
Ang tanong ko, kapag vinalidate na ito ng local court, yung warrant, would you already then consider that there is an arrest warrant against Bato?
Sa amin nga po, no, we have to choose what argument they're really sticking to, Ma'am Karen. Are they trying to validate, as your term goes, no, a foreign warrant? Or are they trying to just secure a local warrant here in our local courts for a local charge based on RA 9851? Hindi po namin kasi alam kung ano yung gusto nilang sundin na landas, and it doesn't give us a clear recourse, no? Sa amin po kasi, we have maintained that the ICC has no jurisdiction, not even over President Duterte. This has done us irreparable harm as a nation. So I think kung gusto talaga po nilang hulihin si Bato and to extract accountability, iisa lang po ang hinihingi namin. Kasuhan niyo po dito po sa ating domestic courts. We do not know why they do not want to resort to local court processes. They have no reason to doubt the Supreme Court or our local judicial system. So, bakit po ba hindi kasuhan si Bato dito?
A verification of a local court is enough for you kahit walang kaso si Bato sa Pilipinas. Kasi kinasuhan na siya doon. But if a local court verifies that particular arrest warrant, that is enough? Do you recognize as a lawyer that that's already a valid warrant?
Well, that would then be less gray, no? Kasi po,
Okay.
at least by that point they would have followed the laws that they are invoking. So, ibig sabihin, at least sumusunod na sila sa proseso. But our job as lawyers, Ma'am Karen, and even in my personal belief, we will still attack the issue of jurisdiction. We are duty bound too, no? Not just for Bato but for our country. However, if push comes to shove at kailangan na siyang i-surrender because the entire government mechanism has resorted to all the applicable laws and yung sa Article 59, then syempre we would advise our client already. But sana po, bigyan din po siya ng assurance ng gobyerno na hindi po siya maduduterte. Kasi po, pag ginawa po nila yun, let's say gumawa sila ng kahit anong warrant, local or foreign, tapos without resorting to Article 59, yung ihaharap siya sa korte, bibigyan siya ng a few days to answer. Paano po pag sinip out siya bigla ulit, katulad ng ginawa, then that is irreparable damage to our country, Ma'am Karen.
And I think my last one is just recently is the ICC has mentioned already specifically other names, right? PNP officials. But the most famous one being is also Senator Bongo.
Senator
Bongo. So there is a possibility that an arrest warrant may be issued by the ICC against maybe 2 or 3 other individuals, including Senator Bongo. Has Senator Bongo, I'm curious, reached out to, do you have one legal team? Have you met about this? No?
No, not at all. Full disclosure, we are friends, of course, but we have no legal engagement. But I think because of President Duterte's rendition and then now the pending arrest of Senator Bato, the same arguments would prosper in light of those supervening events, no, Ma'am Karen? Kasi iisa lang po talaga yung model na ginagamit po ng ICC at ng administrasyon. Iisa po yung model, so iisa lang din po yung dapat isagot doon, which is our constitution must prevail. At yung mga sinasabi po ng iba, I take serious legal offense at the suggestion that the constitution is suspended under certain conditions. The constitution po is never suspended. The Bill of Rights is never suspended.